right. So I like to move around a lot when I present. I don't like using a microphone, so can everybody hear me at this volume? All right, then we're gonna rock on with this. So I am with the Housing Authority of the County of Kern. I have been there for almost a year, and you are the fortunate group to hear my presentation for only the third time, and we're filmed today, so no pressure, no pressure. We'll see how I do. So the Housing Authority of the County of Kern, a lot of people hear it and assume that we are a department under the county. That's actually not the case. We were established by the county, but we are not a separate department. We are actually a private public organization appointed by the county, overseen by HUD. So we're not state, we're not federal, we're not county. We're just a public agency serving the people in our community. We have 7 Board of Commissioner members, all appointed by county supervisors. So again, there's the tie back into the county. We have our own legal counsel, our own HR department. Again, we are a separate entity. The mission of our organization, to improve the quality of life for low-income residents of Kern County by providing safe, affordable housing and assisting residents towards self-sufficiency and home ownership. So we're funded through HUD, of course, since we are appointed agency through HUD. We also receive funding through USDA. We receive funding through tenant rents. We have a nonprofit that was established, the Housing and Opportunity Fund of Kern County. And we also have other housing developments that generate some income for our organization as well. Some quick facts about us, which I thought we were really big until I heard Sheila's presentation, so not quite as impressive, but we have a $45 million annual budget, about 160 employees. We manage 2,500 rental units. We have 1,800 residents receiving supportive services. We house nearly 4,000 people each year. We have $25 million in rental subsidies that we pay to over 1,500 landlords. And we provide permanent supportive housing to over 1,500 homeless people, and we've done that in the last 5 years. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our housing opportunities. A lot of people hear Housing Authority and they think Section 8 vouchers and a waiting list that's been closed and no way for somebody to get assistance unless they've been on that list since 2012. So that is part true, but I'm going to talk to you today about some of the other opportunities that you can refer people to within our organization. So the first one is the Housing Choice Voucher Program. That's what you hear, Section 8. In this program, an eligible participant comes in, they get qualified, we look at their income, we figure out what their rent is going to be, and then they pay 30% of their income towards that rent. Our program pays the difference directly to the landlord. They have a lease with the landlord, we have a contract with the landlord, and everybody's happy, they get paid, and the participant gets housed. Part of this program, a requirement of it is that the unit has to be habitable. We have inspectors that go out, they do housing quality inspections to make sure that the tenants are keeping the units up to the standards that our organization and HUD require. If the housing is not habitable, then we won't make payments to the landlord until they get it fixed. As I mentioned just a moment ago, the application process for this is closed. We opened it up in 2012 for 30 days, and we took over 13,000 applicants in a 30-day process, and we still have 9,000 people on that waiting list. So until that waiting list gets down to a point where we feel like we'll be able to serve everybody, we won't be reopening it. Another program that we have, which a lot of people still refer to as Section 8, is low-income public housing. This is 12 different developments that we have throughout the county. And again, it's based on income. They would come in, they would do an application, get put onto a waiting list. When their name is pulled, we offer them a unit that's available. If they accept that unit, we take a look at their income. They pay 30% of their income towards rent. HUD pays the Housing Authority the difference for that rent to make the full contract rent amount. And again, these units have to be habitable as well, but instead of us doing the inspections, HUD comes out and does the inspections on them to make sure that they are meeting the standards. We are taking applications for this program. The list, it's a pretty lengthy wait. We do have a lot of people on it, but we are accepting applications. So if somebody's interested in low-income public housing, they come to what I call our central office, which is right up the street at 601 24th Street. This is a picture of one of our low-income public housing developments, Valley Vista. It's one of our units in Delano. So we also provide housing to subpopulations, to specific groups of individuals within our community. And one of the populations that we really try to make sure have safe, decent, and affordable housing is our seniors. So we have 4 senior developments throughout the county. They all have different eligibility requirements, depending on the development, how it was funded, who's involved in it, what federal partners are part of it. But for the most part, they have to be 55 years or older. They have to be considered low income. And they have to come into the offices at the development to do the application, get onto the waiting list, and then be offered a unit if they qualify. The waiting list for these is much smaller. It's a much shorter wait time than for our big list for low-income public housing. If you're interested in knowing where these developments are, you can go to our website at kernha.org, pull up senior housing, and it'll list all of the contact information. This is one of them, Village Park. It's right next to our office on 24th Street. This is one of my favorite developments, partly because I look out my window at it every day, but it's beautiful. It's tranquil. The environment there is peaceful. It always looks like this. It's just immaculate. It's beautiful. So Sheila shared about migrant workers. We actually partner with CAPK quite a bit to serve the migrant families in our community. We have several housing developments throughout the county to serve our migrant farm workers, from 2 migrant camps, one in Shafter and one in Arvin, to housing for those farm workers who decided to settle here in Kern County and no longer follow the migrant path. Most of the funding from this comes from USDA. Again, they apply directly at the developments, and then we have to go through a qualification process to make sure they meet the definition of farm labor in order to be housed. Again, we have the list on our website if you're interested in knowing where those locations are. This is our newest development for farm labor families. It's out in Lost Hills. It's called Almond Village. This is a really innovative project. The picture here in the courtyard, it's considered a zero-scape property because it's desert landscape. That's all fake turf. There's no real grass on the entire property, so it's kind of innovative. So in addition to all of that, we have developments that are just considered affordable housing. Just for low-income families that don't meet a special population, that just need affordable housing. It's in the name. So again, we have a list of those developments on our website as well. Those typically have less restrictive qualifications. We look more at income than source of income or age. This is Park 20th. It's one of our affordable housing developments on 20th Street. So a big part of what we do is services for the homeless in our community. We have housing developments focused on housing homeless individuals, and we also applied to HUD through the Homeless Collaborative for funding specifically to have a separate pool of vouchers that are not a part of Section 8 specifically for the homeless population. So we do a lot of work in the community to try and reduce that homeless number, reduce what you guys see on the side of the freeway, downtown, and on the streets, to really try and make an impact in our community in a very meaningful way and target services to those who are the most vulnerable and who need it the most. So we're very active in the Homeless Collaborative. We have, like I said, about 1,500 formerly homeless people in vouchers today, and we continue to grow that number and put more vouchers into the community to serve them. We partner with several agencies to make this work happen. A few of them would be Flood Bakersfield Ministries, Bakersfield Homeless Center, Independent Living Center, and California Veterans Assistance Foundation, just to name a few, but it takes a community to really serve this population, and we've learned that. We also have programs targeted towards emancipated foster youth, another very vulnerable population in our community. So again, we want to make sure that we're reaching those who need the services the most. For our emancipated foster youth programs, they have to be ages 18 to, 21? I wanted to say 24, but I knew that wasn't right. 18 to 21. And they have to be exiting the foster care system, and the housing is a temporary place for them to go, to have intensive supportive services, so that way they can exit into their own apartment, their own housing, and be independent. It's not meant to be long-term services. It's just a soft place for them to land, to group, to get out on their own. Ooh, I went fast. Any questions?
I have a question. I'm with Field. Do any of your units have like mixed use? So if they have retail and maybe apartments at the top?
Yeah, we have a development on Baker Street Village, which the bottom floor is, we've got a conference room, we've got Clinica Sierra Vista there providing medical care, and then we're actually trying to get like one of those take and bake pizza stores to rent the other space. So definitely.